YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kamen Rider Gavv episode 30-something. So Gavv has been in a really interesting place where we've kind of felt like we're in the early episodes in a way. Like it's toned down a little bit. I wouldn't call it filler because we're setting up some stuff. This episode in particular, in comparison to the last couple weeks, is setting up some even more interesting stuff. But just the tone of it is feeling like the first 10 episodes and kind of more in that getting to know the series territory. I think it's kind of as we're developing the dynamic between all the characters. As this week focuses on Hanto and Lakia more so forming a connection, we did get to see everyone kind of working together last week, which was really great, but we're kind of focusing on a dynamic we haven't really spent too much time with. Like, Shoma really didn't do a lot in this episode. He was kind of background. He really only fought the butler character at the very end to set that up, which I really like his design. He's the butler of Jeeb's wife, and I'm curious what they're going to do with his character, if he's just a guy to fight for a couple episodes, but just, I don't know, the granite design with like the suit, I just really liked it. But what you have is Hanto has been secretly investigating Shoma's human family. I forgot to bring that up in the episode it was introduced, but he was asking him about it, and Shoma was like, I really don't want to deal with it right now, but he's going to investigate it anyway. And it leads him to the address of this person, and he's like, hey, do you know this person's name, which is the mother? But it turns out they do know a person by that name, but it's their boyfriend or brother. I can't remember what it was, but it was a male member. I think it was a boyfriend. It doesn't matter. It was a guy that's gone missing, and he follows the lead to a barbershop where it's a granite that's been doing it, and you have Lakia along for the ride with this kind of investigation storyline.
Just a couple little things I forgot to mention that were funny. Like in this scene, when they catch the barber guy, I thought it was funny that he was caught because he recognized Lakia when he walked in. I thought that was just funny that he immediately blew his cover. And I can't believe I forgot to mention one of my favorite scenes, which is when they're just arguing and Lakia is pointing out all the times Hanto's been stupid. He's like, how did you think Bitter Gavv was the same person? His Gavv wasn't even the same color. I mean, to be fair and play devil's advocate a little bit, I could understand because his emotions were heightened by finding out Shoma was a granite. So still, it was funny, and it made the episode really entertaining.
And it all comes to a head at the end of the episode in the fight, where they think they defeat him, but they don't because it was a husk, and it seems like the person that they're tracking down might actually be the person responsible for the death of Lakia's brother, which is really interesting. And I'm curious to see if in the following weeks, maybe probably next week, I'm going to imagine that maybe that they'll bond over that, because you have Shoma and Hanto bonding very early on over lost parents and family. And does Hanto know about Lakia's brother? I think he might. I don't know. Honestly, I can't remember. So much has happened in the series since then, but I think that could be a way that they could bond, and maybe they'll help each other out with that. But that was definitely an interesting development. That's what I was talking about when I was saying, like, it feels kind of fillery and back to basics, but we're still building things in the background. I think that was an in particular big revelation. One of the highlights, too, of them working together is they get stuck together by the monster, which is a classic trope when you have two characters where they don't really get along and then they get stuck together and are forced to work together, that when they're transforming, the like pudding cup thing engulfs both of them, and Hanto is like suffocating and trying to get his henshin going and survive and not suffocate. That was really funny and meta, because it kind of addresses like all the loud henshin-y stuff that happens, because usually, with the exception of some stuff in Saber, you know, Rider henshins actually happen in the outside world, unlike in Rangers where it's either instant or it's the morph sequence, which makes me wonder, like, you know, I feel like for everyone else, the morph sequence happens instantly, like when they're watching it, but where does the morph sequence happen? Do they go into morph sequence dimension, or is that just for us? I don't know. Now I'm thinking way too much about that. But that was really funny. I love little bits like that. Other stuff, development-wise, revolved around the villains and the president officially taking control of the company, and Jeeb kind of reveling in it. And she does note that she doesn't really have a rivalry against her sister, and more so her grievances obviously are towards Shoma, and then I think Longo to a degree. But there was a little bit there. I think that's really interesting. Like I've said before, I wish we had more time with the stomachs kind of out front as the villains before they get kind of usurped. But I feel like they'll probably be on top by the end of the series. But I've really enjoyed that. It was an unexpected dynamic. You also have Jeeb's wife kind of taking advantage of the power when she's going shopping, but she just wants everything for free. So I'm interested to see where that goes. This episode overall was solid. Like, kind of like the last few weeks, there's not a whole lot to talk about because they're just kind of solid, enjoyable episodes with little breadcrumbs of what's to come, but they haven't been as hard-hitting as the last few weeks, which is a little disappointing. I'm not hating it, it just is an odd change of pace a bit. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb this episode and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.